Boxing Day 2025 will be remembered in Premier League history for a very different reason. For the first time ever, only one match will be played on this iconic holiday. Gone are the days of multiple games happening simultaneously. All eyes will be on Old Trafford, where Manchester United hosts Newcastle United in the sole match keeping the Boxing Day tradition alive. The pressure and significance of this game are heightened by the fact that it's the only focus on this day. Manchester United and Newcastle United, two Premier League heavyweights, are both having underwhelming seasons. United still finds itself outside the top six, while Newcastle remains in the lower half of the standings. However, the gap between the teams competing for European spots is razor thin. A victory for either team could completely change their fortunes in the race for the top places. Heading into this match, Manchester United has shown relatively stable form. Since October, the Red Devils have only lost 2 Premier League matches, signaling that Ruben Amorim has brought some stability after an erratic start to the season. The recent 1-2 defeat to Aston Villa was more frustrating than alarming. United weren't outplayed, and at times they looked the better side, but ultimately left Villa Park empty-handed because of 2 brilliant individual moments from Morgan Rogers. These top-class strikes went beyond what United's defense could control. Therefore, their current position around 7th place accurately reflects their state. Not stable enough to dream of bigger things, but also not far off from the competition. The gap between teams fighting for European spots is minimal, and with a string of positive results, United could quickly climb back up. However, things took a turn for the worse when Bruno Fernandes suffered an injury. The reality is that since the 2022-2023 season, Manchester United has never won a Premier League match without Bruno. In 7 matches without him, they have only 1 draw, 6 losses, and just 4 goals. These statistics make it clear that his absence is not just an issue of missing a key player, but a systemic problem. Bruno is not just the captain in name, he's the team's creative engine, controlling the tempo and linking up play. Without him, the big question is how will Manchester United approach this match? On the other hand, Newcastle travels to Old Trafford in a state of uncertainty, but still with potential for surprise. Currently sitting in the lower half of the table, Newcastle is only 1 win away from breaking into the top half, and they could directly threaten Manchester United's 7th spot. This makes the Boxing Day clash feel more like a 6-pointer than just another regular match. Newcastle's form is far from impressive, with only 1 win in their last 4 league matches. However, their recent 2-2 draw with Chelsea highlighted their inconsistency. Despite being 2-0 up, they allowed Chelsea to come back, continuing the pattern of losing leads that have plagued them all season. This issue has been a constant headache for Eddie Howe. His side can be explosive at times, but they often lack the composure and mentality to finish matches strong. Still, there is reason for optimism when it comes to their attacking play. Nicklas Malmstrom has scored 7 goals in the Premier League this season, and his finishing ability has been a reliable weapon for the team, especially in matches where one moment can decide the outcome. Alongside him, Anthony Gordon has been a constant threat on the wing, with 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 6 matches. However, Newcastle's defense remains their Achilles heel, as they haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 10 matches. But when playing away, they've only conceded 10 goals, which is among the best in the Premier League. This contrasting defensive record makes Newcastle a tough team to break down. They might make mistakes, but they rarely collapse, especially in big games where pragmatism is key. Looking at history, Manchester United has always approached Boxing Day with a special edge. In the Premier League era, they've won more matches on December 26th than any other team, making this day almost a part of their identity. Their fans have become accustomed to seeing their team dominate this festive occasion, using the holiday atmosphere to gain a psychological advantage. But recent encounters between Manchester United and Newcastle on Boxing Day tell a different story. Last season, Newcastle defeated United twice, including a 2-0 victory at Old Trafford, a result that showed the Magpies no longer fear playing at the Theatre of Dreams. This Boxing Day, however, is not the same. Old Trafford is no longer an impenetrable fortress, and Manchester United is no longer the automatic favorite. This shift has made the match even more unpredictable. Gone are the days when Boxing Day was a surefire victory for United. The clash between Manchester United and Newcastle now represents a real test of their current states. Without Bruno, Manchester United will likely try to control possession and dictate the tempo, relying on their midfielders like Casemiro to hold the structure and protect the center of the park. Players like Martial and Koun will be expected to stretch Newcastle's defense with their movement. However, the biggest challenge for United will be creating the necessary offensive spark. Without Bruno, their attacks are likely to lack pace and unpredictability. On the other hand, Newcastle will almost certainly play a counter-attacking game. With Gordon's pace on the wing and Malmstrom's ability to find space in the box, Newcastle will look to exploit the gaps left by United's defense when they push forward. Quick transitions will be key for the Magpies. The most likely scenario is a slow-paced first half with few clear chances. If there is a goal, it will probably come from an individual mistake rather than a well-worked team move. This isn't a game that promises dazzling football or a flurry of goals. Instead, it's a tense, practical contest where every moment could define the outcome. For Manchester United, the biggest challenge is not their opponent, but themselves. Without Bruno, they must learn how to operate without their creative and emotional leader. Every decision and every attacking move will be scrutinized. For Newcastle, the challenge is to finish games properly. They've often been in winning positions but failed to close out matches. Boxing Day may only feature one match, but it's more than enough to reveal the true limitations of both teams. This isn't about fancy statistics or poetic narratives. It's about the final score on the pitch.